All right, welcome back to the channel. So, unfortunately, Virgil Ortiz says he's ready for Errol Spence Jr., but his coach Robert Garcia does not agree, and I don't agree with him either. But it does kind of say something about Virgil Ortiz that he doesn't think that Robert Garcia doesn't think he's ready for Errol Spence Jr. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So this is one of the videos we do. We're talking about up and coming prospects. I don't cover a lot of up and coming prospects on the channel, but I make sure that I do my best to cover the ones that are really at the top level of the sport and I believe really have a chance to become, legitimate world champions and unified world champions, undisputed world champions, those type of guys. Virgil Ortiz is one of those guys, just like Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Jaron Ennis, Teofimo Lopez, guys like that. Now, I know some of the people that I just mentioned became our champions now, but I was covering them, and I thought it was important to talk about those guys even before they got those belts, because it was clear that they are at a talent level that is different than most fighters, and that they will inevitably wind up in the top echelon in boxing. And Virgil Ortiz, who's out of the state of Texas. I believe he's out of Dallas. I know he's out of the Dallas area. I'm not sure if he's from DeSoto or from some other area out, right around Dallas, but he's from that area. Trained in the same gym as a young kid with Errol Spence Jr. Went on to sign, and when he became a professional, signed with Golden Boy Promotions, and now he is the top prospect. In my opinion, he's the top prospect for Golden Boy Promotions. Now, a lot of people might disagree with that and say that it's Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia has the name, has more of a name that's out there. He's definitely more gregarious and the type of guy that's gonna, give you more things to write about than the quiet, kind of soft-spoken Virgil Ortiz. But if you look at the way these two guys fight, man, at least the way when I look at the two of these guys, the way they fight and their potential, I think that Virgil Ortiz has as much, if not more, potential than Ryan Garcia does, because I think that Virgil Ortiz is just a better all-around fighter, and I like how aggressive he is. I like how big he is, and when he's going there to take dudes' heads off, man, he's fighting like a lot of these guys in Texas, whether they're Mexican or they're not, or they're black, these guys out there in Texas they fight in that style where they are really trying to wear at your body and trying to get out and trying to get you out of there. You can see that in Errol Spence Jr. You can see that in Virgil Ortiz. Now, not too long ago, Virgil Ortiz was talking about how he believes that he'll be ready to fight Errol Spence Jr. And, obviously there's a lot of people out there that are saying, that those are the type of fights that you would expect to see a Virgil Ortiz in once he gets, all the way to where he needs to be. Now, Robert Garcia was on, I think this was aired on Fight Hype. I saw it this morning, but obviously it was an Instagram type of conversation that he was having, where he was responding to questions that were coming from the people in the chat, like I do on my chat. And so somebody asked him about Errol Spence Jr. He said, "Yeah, Errol Spence Jr. That's definitely something we can do, but got to remember that Virgil Ortiz is young. He's only 22 years old. He's got, another 2 years, then, he should be ready. He should be ready for anybody." Now, this is what I think is interesting about that. If you look at everybody else who's around the same age as Virgil, or not everybody else that's around the same age as Virgil Ortiz, but many of the fighters that I mentioned that are around that age. Devin Haney's around that age, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, I think Chris Colbert is around that age, but also Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis is around that age. Shakur Stevenson's around that age. I would have said Anthony Greer, but Anthony Greer, just lost to Magic Mike. And as much as I like Anthony Greer, I didn't think Anthony Greer was really on that level of fighter. Very strong, good fighter, but, you could see what happened with Magic Mike coming down the road a little bit. But I still, man, definitely have great hopes for him. But you listen to like what all of these other fighters are saying, and they are pushing their they're pushing their promoters to get them championship fights, right? Devin Haney, who's I believe is the same age as Virgil Ortiz, if not just a little bit younger than Virgil Ortiz, but he's right around that age, says, and he's wanting to fight Vasily Lomachenko, right? He wants to fight. He was the mandatory for Vasily Lomachenko. Vasily Lomachenko got that franchise belt and ducked out, but Devin Haney, even at that age, was saying, "Hey, man, I'm 100% ready for Vasily Lomachenko." And clearly his trainer, who is Bill Haney, believes the same thing about him, right? You have Ryan Garcia now, who, though he was supposed to fight Jorge Linares, which is, is obviously not an Errol Spence type of setup, but he's trying to get to that fight so he can get to a Devin Haney or he can get to a championship shot. You've got guys like Shakur Stevenson, who obviously already has his WBO belt, but he clearly didn't beat anybody the level of an Errol Spence or fight somebody like the level of an Errol Spence Jr. to get it. But still, he's there looking for fights with Josh Warrington. Says that he wants to move up. He would fight Vasily Lomachenko moving up. I would think anybody that is that's team would position them for and put them in a situation to fight Vasily Lomachenko, you have to believe that they have just as much confidence. They have probably more confidence at this stage of their career in their fighters than Robert Garcia has in Virgil Ortiz. Now, because obviously not that he would actually have the opportunity to do so, right? Because Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr.'s got his fights for the next 2 years booked up between Danny Garcia, Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford, potential match. He's got another IBF mandatory with Abdulkarov all lined up. So obviously, Virgil Ortiz isn't going to get that fight with Errol Spence Jr., but just the tone of the voice in Robert Garcia when he says, yeah, remember, I'm not going to rush him. A year, 2 years, he'd be ready for anybody. Like I said, that's not the language that's being used by these other guys, managers and trainers, who they're trying to get up, who they're trying to get these, and they're legitimately trying to get these very difficult fights for them. Now, all that said, I think that Robert Garcia is probably taking the smarter path. I would say the same thing for Oscar De La Hoya and Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is in a situation where he may be fighting. And again, I understand that this is, a lot of this is just talk and we don't know really what's going to pop off. But Ryan Garcia is in a situation where he might be fighting Luke Campbell. And obviously, Luke Campbell is no Errol Spence Jr., but the dude is a former title holder, and it does wind up with a fight against Devin Haney. Anyway, man, I say all that to say these people, they just seem more confident in their fighter. But I would say, like for Ryan Garcia, that moving to fight even a Jorge Linares or a Luke Campbell, dude, is very, very risky at this point in time in their career, man, because I do believe that Ryan Garcia is ultimately a better fighter than both Jorge Linares and Luke Campbell. And as far as his potential, in being, as far as being a great fighter or the potential to be a great fighter, but still at this stage in his career, it'd be like, yeah, wouldn't you be better just to wait maybe like a year, let that dude come down a little bit and make sure that for sure that you've been tested, maybe get in there with another guy that is maybe a little bit higher than the Francisco Fonseca you just fought, but somebody that could actually test your chin or something and let you know where you are, I would think would be a smarter move. And that Robert Garcia, is probably making the right move with Virgil Ortiz. But just so you know, when those 2 years are up, that you're not going to wind up seeing an Errol Spence Jr. or a Terrence Crawford fight with Virgil Ortiz. More than likely, Virgil Ortiz is going to be at 154, if not 160 pounds, because he's a big dude. And second of all, those fighters are definitely going to be out of the 147 pound weight class. The guy that Virgil Ortiz, to me, seems like Virgil Ortiz is most likely to be headed towards are guys like Devin Haney when Devin Haney gets to 147. Because Devin Haney is coming up to 147. I have no doubt in that. I think he, like he said, he might end his career at 154 pounds, but he's a big lightweight right now. And the next weight class for him, he's going to stay at 140 for a minute because there's no money there and wind up being at 147 pounds. Same thing for who I think is probably the best. No, I don't think he probably is the best. I believe that he is the best prospect in boxing, and that is Jerron Boots Ennis out of Philadelphia. That's going to be the mega fight between Ortiz and Boots Ennis, and probably, unfortunately, probably one of those fights where we sit around forever saying, "Man, really wish this fight would happen," but neither one of the guys can get into the ring because they can make more money, fighting a bunch of other guys that are lower level than getting in there together. So hopefully that's not what happens. But as for now, right now, Robert Garcia is 100% right. Virgil Ortiz is not ready for Errol Spence Jr. And he definitely needs to take at least a year and a half, if not 2 years worth of fights before he is actually ready. And it's going to be even maybe a little bit longer because there's this hold up in boxing and people can't get in and have these real type fights. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.